Thanks for having me, Mike.
Oh, Kevin, absolute pleasure.
I love coming in here and getting kind of dialed in. The combination of Quintech and TrackMan, it's kind of does a good job at telling you what's wrong with your stroke.
Yeah. We always want to see how the ball's rolling.
Yeah.
So you have one of your Odyssey 2 balls in. This is your current gamer?
Yeah, so this has kind of always been Old Faithful. My mini tour days, I think high school. I mean, this thing's old. This thing's got to be 04, 05 maybe.
Okay.
This is over 20 years old. I always loved the feel of the white hot face, and I always thought it just was easy to aim the 2 balls and the line on the top, and I just have good memories of making putts with this thing.
Yeah.
So it's always close to, if it's not in the bag, it's close to the bag.
It's always traveling with you?
It usually travels with me.
Good.
It's been around the world.
All right.
So
let's have you hit a couple putts.
Okay.
Let's try and figure out why this putter has been your favorite for so long. Yeah, so this is why this is the gamer. So when I'm looking at Quintech, I'm always looking at side spin. That is where your face is at impact. Obviously 0 is perfection. 5 and under is where I see a lot of tour players. Yeah. 10 to 0 might be a really good amateur. And generally speaking, for a recreational golfer, we want to see this number at 20 or less. Forward backspin, that's exactly what the ball's doing. You had forward spin. We always want forward spin. That ball's tracking, wants to find the hole. 0 skid, that's when basically the ball's in a true roll and our launch angle is our launch angle. There you were at 3.7. If we look at this at high speed, that's what's neat about Quintech. We can see where on the face you hit it. See how that putter's traveling up a little bit? That's where you probably got a little bit of your launch, but the effectiveness, this here is absolutely perfection.
Yeah. Would you say that's where you like the launch angle, or do you like a little less?
Well,
it depends on the grass you're on too, dude.
Grass has a little bit to do with it. Generally speaking, I like to see between 1 and 3. Yeah. That gives you a good range on pretty much every surface. Yeah. The other thing is you're going to use your putter off the green, whether you're in the fringe or in the fairway. That's where the loft of the putter comes into play. Now, if you were one of these people that came in that said, hey, I'm never going to use my putter off the green, we can get this much lower. Then it would really speed up your tracking. Yeah. But the problem is what happens when you go off the green. Now you're going to drive it into the green. That's when it jumps, backspin. And
I think for a lot of people to understand, you know, on your normal greens that are probably under a 8 to 9 in stimp, like this isn't a terrible thing to get the ball up off of indentations or off of footprints, or, you know, when we're on a pool table or, you know, an Augusta green, you know, this number could be probably 0.5 and be fine because you want it rolling immediately. So you make a great point. It actually makes me think of a little tip I do just to myself. Whenever I'm putting from off a green, I'll almost put my handle back a click. Like I'll go that way. And all that's doing is adding loft. And it just allows that initial launch to get that much higher, to just take out the possibility of it bouncing and taking away all your
I mean, that's an awesome tip where I find some people tend to move the ball forward. In the effect of hopefully getting the ball to lift. The problem is sometimes they're actually closing the face versus actually lifting the putter.
That's another cool point too that I've learned recently that I could, you know, just in education. But the idea of the 3-dimensional swing of golf clubs, whether it's a driver or a putter, it centers out at 0, which is, you know, usually under our buttons or under our pelvis. Under our torso at some point. But as soon as we're starting to hit up on it, as it's moving up, it's also moving left.
Correct.
So whether a driver, if you're hitting up on it 4 or 5 degrees, it's also moving left at that point. So the idea of hitting a draw and hitting up on it, you better aim right to allow that to happen, because initially it's going to start left because your path is starting left if your face is close to that. So it's almost applicable here to putting. If you see attack angle get to positive, at that same moment it's going left, which could cause a deflector left to right feel, which I personally don't like.
Yeah, we don't want to mess this number up.
Yeah, so that's a great result, but there's all these other things that go into it. So that's kind of the cool education side of things too.
Yeah, awesome.
Get this one again? Or you
Yeah,
want to
let's
try?
do. Let's.
I brought a few of my old buddies, but starting with that one was a good one to see. So. That was a nice roll. Quintec is so that's -10.
So
a
a negative is hook spin. If you
Right.
get on Faxon's podcast, he's always talking about hooking your putts.
Yeah.
That's exactly what that is.
Yep.
Once again, this is still, in my opinion, a really good putt. You know, the difference between 10 and 0 is like the thickness of a hair.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how accurate and sensitive this camera is. Once again, launch angle came down a little bit. You're still at a positive, still a really good putt. Once again, if we're looking at this and frame by frame, there's your impact. Then it immediately goes to green at the 1 inch mark, and that ball just starts tracking, more importantly, rolling really straight.
Well, I was going to tell everybody too, the cool thing to have TrackMan lined up with Quintec. So I'm on TrackMan a fair amount with my putting because I have one and it's more accessible. Quintec, it's unbelievable. You guys have this here.
Yeah.
It's really hard to set up, and so that you guys have it stable all the time, it makes it's so helpful. But they're just incredibly fickle. Obviously, to get the numbers that you guys do is just it's awesome to have for your customers. But what I usually look at on TrackMan are right here are my path and then my face angle and then face to path. So this is kind of a cool feel of what we just talked about. I saw that was left, but I love the feel of that putt because I was slightly into out and my face was in between this number and 0. So that should create some sort of release and almost into out, right to left feel, which for me personally is like a putt that I love the feel of. The opposite of that would be like out to in, open facer that just almost feels deflecty and doesn't quite have the same drive as that putt does to me.
That's your hook spin.
Yeah.
Where the other one, where if you're going out to in, is your slice spin.
Yep.
I always tell people, don't slice your driver, never slice your putter.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. All right, let's grab
Thank you. Grab another Old
your
Faithful.
blade. Yeah.
Okay. So it's funny. I look back at this putter, like historically, this one is my most meaningful putter. Like I bet of my 470 tour starts, I've used this like 250 to 300 of them. And it's just an off the rack beat up Scotty that you guys would sell for $30. You know, it's just like there's nothing Circle T, GSS at all to it. But when I put it down, it's just like, oh baby.
So I noticed
good.
you have a little bit of a Sharpie mark on the top.
I do. I was just for whatever reason, I was just setting up with it a little bit on the toe, and the way my eyes saw it, it was just maybe promoting a little bit too much of that, what we saw with too much hook. So it moved it up literally a fraction, but it just kind of was like a quick reminder to dial those two lines in. That's really the only reason for it. But yeah, I've got all these cool putters in my basement, and
You guys are good.
But it's interesting the launch angle's down more where
Yeah,
we
so
want it, for whatever
sometimes when you have really high MOI mallets where they do put a lot of weight in the back, that will give you that touch
launchy, yeah.
launch, which does make sense. So obviously this came down -6. I mean, it's a touch of backspin, nothing where I would really worry. There's your impact, goes to green, and that ball's still rolling, starts rolling between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
More importantly, it's just hugging the hole.
Yeah. And that, I say whenever it's under 0.5 in anything, that's pretty darn zero.
Yeah, you're at 10 feet, 0.5 and under is inside the hole.
Yeah.
It's a great number to strive for.
That felt nice right there. That felt nice. Come on. Yep. See, I just love that hooky feel.
Yeah, that's your hook
clearly I
spin.
don't want it to be 20,
Right.
but that feel, well, right here, look at this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Once again.
so 0.3 into out, and then face 0.1 is just a touch of a little draw. Like that would just, when Tiger talks about hook and putts, that's what he's talking about right there.
Yeah. Now, if we did a slow motion, and that's what's great about TrackMan, is we can look at your setup. What I'm looking at is, as a fitter, how is this putter sitting on the ground? Obviously, that's as good as it gets. A lot of people don't realize when the toe's in the air, heels down, 10-foot putt, you're 2 to 4 inches offline to the left, even before you hit it.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is what we're looking for. Now here's your backstroke, and we'll do it in slow motion. You can see an ever so slight arc. Everybody has a form. That's about as mild as it gets, but you're definitely coming from the inside to the out. No reroute. That's pretty good there. There's impact, and there's your release.
That's why I like those 2 putters, Mike.
So obviously the Cameron one-piece milled metal, the Odyssey white hot,
bunch of pieces.
couple of pieces. In your opinion, is there a radical difference in feel? Because you've played both of them, you've had success with them, but they're as different as they get.
Yeah. It's funny. If I hit them with my eyes closed, I would know what the white hot is. It's a much softer feel, but I think I just have such good memories of good putts that I've made with both of them that I feel like I could truly transition to either one without too much concern. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So
That's awesome because you're quantifying a lot of stuff that I talk about in putter fittings. Obviously, the insert has a softer feel, but the insert doesn't affect the roll. It's a feel thing.
Yep.
Where the Cameron, a little bit more responsive, a little bit more clicky. Odyssey's going to be soft, but yet we're seeing great stuff out of both putters.
Yeah. Yep. They'll stay in the possession for a while.
Okay. Of the other ones
trading them in here too soon.
Of the other ones you brought in, is there another putter that you've had success with that maybe we want to
I've brought some fun ones.
check out?
We might as well while we're here. This is a fun one. This was the similar to my Newport 2 Gamer. This was a GSS. Like this is the Tiger Head. Similar to his baby with the dot on the top, Cameron & Co. 350 GSS, same length and lie.
Now, is there a little duct tape on the bottom of that?
Yeah, I got a little
lead tape?
I think lead tape got us up to D6, I think is what I think it was at D2 or 3 without it. So just a little more weight to the bottom, in my opinion. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
7.
Really good.
But interesting, like for me personally, I really do not like this getting negative because this happens. So when my path goes left, athletically, I'm like, oh crap, hold on to the face. And then while this is still under 1 and has a chance of going in the hole, I would rather have it in to out with release than out to in with hold.
But see, this is how crazy our brain works. Something triggered that, and look how much more open because of your path.
Yep. It almost makes me not want to hit the putter again.
All right, you can put that one down. That's why it's not traveling with you.
It's funny. It's just, it's not far off that other putter, but it just.
I mean, the numbers didn't look bad.
Yeah, but I got high expectations.
It's a feel thing.
So this to me was always the best looking. The Laguna head, super thin top line, square as can be, should promote some release. Very, very solid steel feel.
Yeah, that's
that kind of goes back to the negative.
You got your
hook.
hook.
Launch though.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's crazy. 0.8 into out and the face matched.
Yeah. See, even here you can just see this face just starting to close at impact. Right there.
Yep.
immediately goes green, then you can see the release. That's awesome.
Which this will have more toe hang too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to think about too when you're getting fit for your putters is what do you like the feel of, what's your tendencies, and then what neck gives you that sort of release and feel. If I had too much release or didn't like the feel, then we'd be talking more face balanced or more of a straight back-to-back stroke. But ooh, that looks good. I like the look of that one. Same deal. I probably got this putter 20 years ago.
So,
And still to me, I pick it up, I go, that
with you
is-
knowing that this is a putter that has a lot of swing to it, do you feel that when you're putting? Or is this one you just jump into and it just automatically does what it's supposed to do? Yeah, that's we might have a new gamer.
look at that.
Yeah.
0.2 and that's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, and that's what we were talking about earlier too, Drew, is like, it's this conception that it's less forgiving maybe because it's more toe hang, or like an 8802 is, but that's malarkey based on your stroke. Don't you think, Mike? Like,
Oh, 100%.
so
and-
we think these big, fat, super forgiving putters are supposed to help us start it down our target line, and that's not the case. This is less forgiving than the last two putters I hit, and I just zeroed out everything just because I was comfortable with the release pattern, with the feel of it, and with the look of it, and all of a sudden the stroke kind of came out.
Yeah. So if we look at your stroke here, I mean, this looks just like, the Odyssey that you love, the Cameron that you love. This here, you can still see the putter release, rotate. There's your follow through. And this is where we sometimes get lost. You're at 3 miles an hour.
Yeah.
If you have the club in your hand, you're controlling it. It's not like we're getting it above our head where we're swinging at 100 miles an hour, where some magical weighting or toe hangs changing it.
Yeah.
We're controlling it. It's what gives you the most confidence, what gives you the most feel, which usually makes you a better putter.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, these numbers here are absolutely insane how good they are. Now I know why your name's on the bag. I mean, that's just absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I might have to mess with old Laguna a little bit. I got one more. This is the one I won my first tour event with in Tampa, which should be interesting to see because this is a GoLo, double bend, less rotation.
Theoretically.
But I hit one of the best putts of my life to win a tournament with this putter too. So I can feel that not wanting to, yeah. I wonder if the path went a little left on that. And we also adjust. Like I bet if I hit 15 putts with this, yeah, see the path went left. I knew it. Now the face matched the path, which I like. But immediately, I think reacting to this neck promoted me swinging a little this way.
Go this way to that.
Versus a little that way.
Yeah.
Just interesting. And you're going to be different, and you're going to be different, and so that's what's so cool about, dialing this stuff in. And we adjust so quickly too, you know what I mean? Like I bet you give me 2 or 3 more putts, I'll have this end out and
Sure,
releasing.
absolutely.
But I think the first one is so darn important because that's who we're going to be out on the course when they're putt that actually means something.
So when I was on tour fitting drivers and irons, the most important shot was the first one.
Yeah.
You can get a person like a Steve Flesh who after one shot's instantly manipulating.
Yeah.
So by the third shot, it's doing everything they want, but if you can do it on the first one, then you're not tweaking the second, the third, and the fourth.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I always tell people, if you get that day where you're on the heater and you're making putts, that's the day you want to come in and do your comparison.
That's right.
Never doing it when you're not putting good, because you're band-aiding it.
Yeah.
If you're putting good, that's when you want to come in. That's when we want to capture all this stuff and
agree.
save it, because there's something that's information that we weren't getting before.
I think that's a great point. I tell people I want to get TrackMan or like really into my numbers when I'm either playing really well or really bad.
Yeah.
Because you want to see those differences. It's the middle time that you can go crazy if you're just looking for minuscule differences. Oh, was up 0.5 more on my driver yesterday. Oh, it's just, and it's just like a waste of your energy. It's a waste of your time when you're playing decent. Now, if you're just completely on a heater or completely lost, that's when you need to go see what's going on, because you'll definitely see differentiation. You just don't want to have to look for differentiation when you're playing decent, because that's when you can really go crazy and you just spend too much time on this stuff. The key is to like see what you got, find something, believe in it, and then you got to go play. You know?
Yep.
Okay, one more with this one.
Yeah,
Pretty
absolutely.
excited. Sort of a little right, I think.
It's amazing you can feel that little bit. I mean, I look at that and I'm saying that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's that little bit where you're feeling you're hanging on.
I have my lip out on the high side from 11 feet or something like that.
But once again,
But
if we're looking,
Yeah, but I love this. Immediately went to 0.5 and down. If I could live here for the next 20 years of my career, I'll be happy. But I felt that. I felt it hang a little bit, which is probably coming straight off the other putter.
so yeah,
I
you're
gotta
coming
let
off
this
the one
go.
with the massive, let's call it square to square,
Yep.
to a putter that's
Wants to swing.
just the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I knew it.
I'm going to have to save this whole session.
1.1 and then 0.5.
Yep,
Perfect hook.
yep,
Just a tickle.
yep, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me in, buddy.
Hey,
I really
absolute,
appreciate it.
my
I love coming
pleasure.
in here and
Love having
seeing
you
you
come in
guys.
we learn something new every time.
You do. Go back out and try and get better.
Yeah,
That's what we all love to do.
yep.